on. Yeah. No, it's good. That, I much appreciate it. Okay, I'm just putting in some control now. This is lovely because now I can set my control to silent. Okay. See you soon. That's okay. See you soon. Bye. Hamish, you set the recording to run?
No, I'll do that now. The only thing we haven't covered, hang on, just press the correct button. The only thing we haven't covered is, it said unfortunately the recording error has occurred, please try again. This happened last time and it recorded. Okay, I'm going to come out and go back in. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay. We haven't been through turning off Skype and mailboxes and things. Is that necessary, given... you're muted, Ray.
Yep, I'll have a quick chat.
Okay, right, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Hi, Preriit.
Hi.
Michelle's just making the point. Can you make sure that you've turned off Skype and inbox and anything else that might go ding during the session?
Yeah, my inbox is closed.
Super.
Skype should not be open. Still, I'll just a second. Let me check. Generally, I never open Skype, but yep, Skype is closed.
Super. Okay, so we should be good to go. Misha's just logged out, just logging back in because there was a gremlin on her recording setup.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. I'll try and record again.
Super.
That appears to have worked.
That's good. Okay, we've got 7 minutes just to sit back and chill, and then we're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just about to press the button.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody, this is Ray Pointer here from NewMR and welcome to another one of our lectures. Today I'm delighted to say that we've got Preriit Souda with us from TNS Global, and he's going to be talking on a subject close to my heart, social media analytics, and in particular that conversations matter more than numbers. So we'll just run through a couple of bits of housekeeping first while people are continuing to join us online. The presentation is going to take about 40 to 45 minutes, and we're going to follow that with Q&A. Now, how do you ask questions, I hear you ask? Well, there are two ways. The first is that you can just tweet your questions using the #NewMR tag. We'll see those, we'll pull those questions together, and I'll ask them to Preriit at the end of the session. Or within the GoToWebinar platform, there is a facility to type in a question, and that question will go through. Again, I'll pull those questions together and we'll be asking them to Preriit at the end. However, you do not need to wait until the end of the session to put in your question. It's really helpful to us if you put in questions as and when they occur to you as we go through the process. It makes it easier to organise them and pull them together at the end of the session. One question people always ask, so we'll answer it in advance, is when will the recordings be available? The answer is typically within a day or two. Sometimes it's even the same day. So as soon as we finish with this broadcast, the backroom team will be getting hold of the recording, doing some editing to chop off the front and the back, and hopefully not having to deal with any distortion. In addition to that, we'll be making a copy of the slides available in PDF format, so you'll be able to access those. They should certainly be up there in a couple of days, probably sooner than that. Most important thing is that we need to say thank you to our platinum sponsor, Survey Analytics. There are a certain number of costs involved in producing these events. There's the GoToWebinar licenses. There are some background costs in terms of making all the recordings and doing the editing. And it's the sponsors and the donations that people chip in from time to time that make all of that possible. So thank you very much. I'd encourage you to go and visit the Survey Analytics platform when you get a moment. So hi Preriit.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you with us. I'm just giving you keyboard and mouse control, and I'm going to click and send the presentation through. Okay, so you should be able to take the floor, and the presentation space is all yours.
Yeah, I'm seeing my picture. It's looking weird, but still. Okay. My name is Preriit, and I work for TNS in London office. I'll come straight to the point. For last 15 years, since the emergence of social media monitoring tools are stuck in techniques which are largely, I would say, borrowed from web analytics. Now, these techniques give useful insights from the quantifiable social media data, but challenge of understanding qualitative granularity, which is hidden in this ocean of public discussion, remains largely unaddressed. Now, for some time, I would say almost 2+ years, we have been putting a lot of effort in trying to use different techniques which are borrowed from, say, data science and a host of other different fields. And it's like trying to see how we can make, how we can get meaning out of these enormous amount of unstructured data. And how we can draw insight from this amount of data with the objectives of research in our mind. I'll go through all these different things we have been doing. Some of the examples I will show. Some of the examples I cannot show because it's a client work, but it's like certainly I'll try to explain what we have done, and some of the work which are more in the public domain, I'll share it across. Now, having said that, this is a new area, and I would say I'll be the upfront and say that this is we are just scratching the surface. So it's like feel free to even in this webinar or after later on, I really appreciate you criticizing, suggesting, or collaborating with us, because we really want that we improve in what we are doing. Okay. Now let's look at Ray. Can I? I'm unable to move. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, a lot of people, when I talk about social media analytics, they say, oh yeah, I know you do something about, say, number of tweets, number of hashtags, those trends lines which are coming up, or say on Facebook you do like likes, shares and comments and all those kind of things. And I mean, I would say yes, we do that, but that's not our unique selling point. And I mean, I would say still that we do what we call this kind of work is volumetric lens, and the stuff which you are seeing here is being offered by all social media monitoring tools. But we feel that, or personally I feel that that's very useful in getting a kind of top level understanding, creating a hypothesis to explore, and also it's an, I would say, industry standard. So it's like if I'm meeting a client and if I don't show this stuff, they will say, okay, fine, I've done something weird kind of thing. So it's like this more of a kind of starting point. From my experience, I would say that don't give simply numbers, because explain its impact, story, and suitable actions. Try to link what you are seeing on social media with what you are seeing in your survey findings. So I'll just give you an example. We do a lot of stuff. In fact, if you look at my Twitter, just on Friday I talked about how we are linking Scottish referendum social media research with surveys which we do for opinion, means whether they will vote yes or no. Means, by the way, I don't know whether how many know Scottish referendum. Scottish referendum is basically Scotland, which is a part of United Kingdom, wants to move out of United Kingdom, and there's a referendum lined up on 18th September, and we do a lot of stuff on that. What we did was we analyzed their Twitter pages, like Twitter conversations and Facebook pages, and tried to see what is coming out from there. Then that was a social media aspect. And then we also do opinion polling, which is like how many percentage will poll yes or no and such kind of thing. Now we try to merge both of them, and we see what are different things coming up on social media and how is it linking with survey. I mean, it's like, say, we could see what are behavioral traits which are experienced on Facebook pages, like, say, sharing behavior, commenting frequencies, on volumes of shares, likes, etc. And how was it linking to the behavior which we saw about those followers in the offline world. So it means when you look at volumetric lens, don't just look at what you are seeing, like number of tweets, shares, etc., but try to see what's beneath those numbers, and that's what means I feel is very important. Now again, this is a starting point. Let's move to the real stuff that we do. Conversation mapping. Now, we converse all the time, may it be in real life or in social media. So say for example today, I talked to Ray for 3 minutes. I talked to my CEO for like say 6 minutes. My boss to like with 12 minutes. Now in conversation mapping, we are trying to replicate that same thing in social media. So who is talking to whom, when, and how much, and all this with respect to the brand in mind. So say for example, this is basically a kind of, let's keep it simple. It's basically a kind of snapshot of social conversation. If you look at the picture which is on your screen, you will see that there are different dots and there are linkages between them. What are they? The circles that you see are Twitter users. Now whenever a Twitter user has tweeted around a campaign, here it was a campaign, and whenever he has tweeted about it, means he is mapped on this map. Now whenever he is referring or replying, he is linked by a line. So say for example, say client brand, the one which is shown here, means tweeted and he was referencing say brand 2, then he is linked by a line. More he is referencing and replying to different people, the thicker the lines become. So say for example, critic 1 talked to say ad agency say 21 times, while it talked to media 1 say 20 times, 10 times. So the thickness of those lines keep on changing accordingly. Now you might say, okay, fine, okay, you are doing this conversation mapping, but what's the advantage of it? The biggest thing is it gives a structure to the conversation. Now here I'm dealing with a lot of unstructured data. We are trying to find out how we can structurize in a way, and when you structurize it, the analysis is much more simpler. It makes more meaning, and it gets you get a context to the meaning. and that's what we are trying to give here. Now, what are the uses of it? First, it gives drivers of conversation. So people who are most influential, and it's like influential, a lot of say people, oh, isn't that cloud score or CRAD score or such kind of thing? Yes, but here we are looking for the most influential people with respect to the conversation we are doing. So it's like here we are looking only for influential people with respect to the campaign we were tracking. So it's like someone might be a very influential person, but with respect to this study, with respect to this campaign, they might not be so influential. So we try to find that. People who are most talkers, who are most talked to, important relayers of information, these are some of the things we try to decipher from this. To give an example, a client of mine was doing a promotion event, and it's like they had a couple of partners who had agreed that okay fine, they will help them promote the event on social media. Now here we could see that, you know what, these people, the partners, how much were they influential? Were they really impactful? Or it's like there were people who said that they will promote the event, but it's like they were not coming out to be influential, or it's like impactful. So, and it's like we could say that some partners who were like small, not so influential, I would say, in like CRAD score and all, but when you looked at this conversation mapping, you could say that, you know what, these guys really drove the conversation, and these were the guys who actually got people talking about it. And it's like, how did they impact that entire conversation? We could see those people, influential people. The second example I would say is like we also get scenarios where we can understand difference between paid media and earned media. I was working on a client which had a campaign effectiveness, like we were trying to see how much effective the campaign was, there was an ad agency and their associates were trying to retweet and tweet amongst themselves. So because of that, there's a metric called impressions. Impressions went up. Now impressions are basically how many people saw your tweets. Now because they were tweeting and retweeting amongst themselves, impressions went up, and it's like they went and showed it to a marketing magazine that, you know what, it's like they had so much of impressions. But actually in reality 40% was actually tweeting amongst themselves. So like when you do this conversation mapping, you can find that okay fine, what is the amount of conversations which were happening like growing organically or inorganically. And I would just like to clarify that I'm not against this kind of thing, because like it does generate a lot of buzz, but the client still needs to know what is the amount of paid media and earned media. There's also another example where we have used is in understanding flow of information and virality. Now, I would just give an example. Recently, a client had a kind of scenario where a media story came up, erupted, and literally, like I would say, destroy the brand image. So, like here, what we did is like we could map that. Means we could see the build-up. That okay, fine. Initially, 2 days, one story came up, and it's like there was a an indication that something is coming, and then certainly story picks up on the day at around 5 a.m. Means TV channel reports it. It does not pick up. Around 6 a.m. BBC and Sky reported, and suddenly it turns out to be massive. And it's like people start jumping around from all places. They're like journalists, celebrities, bloggers, etc., etc. And it's like influential people relayed by influential entities like say radio channels and such kind of things. And it's like we could see that exact flow from being something which was captured by a few, how it spread out to many. So like we could see that transition. So in the future, if my client is looking at it, it's like they have an idea, okay fine, what are important hubs of influence? And it's like, are those hubs of influence positive or they are negative? And what are different layers of information? So it's like there are hubs which create information, or it's like, and there are relayers who relay the information. So it's like, next time they are better prepared to handle such kind of situations. We have also used these to find clusters of people. So it's like say these 100 people are like say speaking positive about you, these people are like say negative about you, or say these 70 people are speaking only about say X topic, and these say 70 people are talking Y topic, and such kind of clustering we have been doing this. Now again, this is for Twitter. Now let's move to Facebook. So before I move ahead, I'd just like to explain why are we using this for Facebook. Now it's like the previous one, Twitter, you might have seen it before. There have been some stuff done on that side. I would say a lot of stuff. But for Facebook pages, why we are using it. Now Facebook is different from Twitter. Now the thing is, here on Facebook, conversations happen mostly with respect to some updates. Now like here I'm talking about Facebook brand page. So a Facebook update comes up and people start talking around it. So what we are talking has a context to it. Now most of the social media tools, or I would say generically speaking, most people how they do is like go to their social media tool and type okay fine, search for any Facebook post which said say McDonald's, say for example, and try to make sense of it. Somehow I have felt that when you do that, you try to look at those orphan conversations, they are not so insightful because they do not have the context and the meaning to it. So when we started looking at it, we particularly focused on Facebook brand pages and use these network maps to give a structure to the conversation. Now let's explain the basic of what it is. Here, Facebook page, here the entire Facebook page of a particular brand is mapped. Blue circles are Facebook updates, and red ones are fans. So whenever a fan has commented on a Facebook update, he's linked by those blue lines. More he has spoken about it, means thicker the line becomes. Now if you look at the picture, means the circles become smaller or bigger. Those are basically updates. So the update more has had engagement. Engagement is basically like likes, shares, and comments. More engagement has happened on it, the bigger the circle. If you look in the middle, I know this is super zoomed out image, but it's like if you look in the middle, there are few red circles which are slightly bigger, I would say. These are the users which were like means highly active, I would say, means who have commented on a lot of other things. Now if you just look at it, what does it help? Well, it shows the most engaging post, the Facebook updates which got a lot of people chatting about it, most active users, and on which particular post were they very active on. We have used this to compare different Facebook pages, means based on which it's like, so say for example brand 1 has this kind of engagement mechanism, while say brand 2 has this kind of engagement mechanism on those pages. So it's like we can understand what are different strategies in place. It's like we also used it to understand high activity fans. So say for example, we have done it as I was referring in a political page, and we could see that there are fans who are like very much like passive advocates or critics. So like we could see some patterns coming out of their behavior. Now it's like we could also decipher interaction strategies which are used by page owners. So it's like page owners also have their own interaction strategies. They get involved in conversation. So like we also try to find if there are patterns coming out in their interaction strategies. Clustering. Now here what we have done, this is again Facebook brand page. This actually was done on How I Met Your Mother's Facebook brand page. It's a famous American situational comedy. It's over now. We did it in March, around February, March. So what we did here, we did clustering of Facebook posts based on fan behavior. So here we created around 14 clusters which were based on similar themes and similar interactors. Fans who means, so let me explain. Say for example updates around say Neil Patrick Harris going to Grammys, it's like was put into one cluster, or say Slapbat, it's a thing of How I Met Your Mother. So it's like post communications around Slapbat were clustered into one. So it's basically clusters, we create clusters of different communications based on fan behavior. If you look at down, there is a How I Met Your Mother season finale introduced, and down there is like a weird dot kind of things. What are they? This thing actually got your latent fans to interact. Let me explain what that means. On How I Met Your Mother, there are, I think, millions of fans, but not every communication attracts their fans to actually interact with them. But it's like there are some communications which get your latent fans to get up and talk to you, means kind of thing. So here what we also get is like understanding of which were the communications which attracted your latent fans. So it's like maybe you can draw out your strategy that these kind of communications are actually working better, or these are not working, or such kind of things. Now, if you're a marketer looking at it, what can it help? Well, this helps in understanding the diversity of interest of your fans. So it's like you might have a fan, like fans of How I Met Your Mother, like millions, but they won't like each and every communication or each and every aspect of your brand. It's like using this, you can see, understand what is the diversity of that interest. Now, before I move ahead, away from Facebook, I'll just like to say what other things we have done on Facebook. So one thing which we did is like trying to decipher what are different ideas resonating among fans. So say for example you have Facebook updates and people comment on it, and other fans actually like on those different comments. So means we try to find patterns among such kind of resonating ideas and try to see if we can means make some sense of it. So say for example, I was working on a project where it's like there were people who were coming up and say, guys, you are not doing this thing right, you need to make changes to this product in this and this way. And a lot of people actually agreed with them, yes, he's right, or liking, or such kind of thing. So like we try to find such resonating ideas which are coming from your own fans. We are also, I was once working on alcohol brand, and one fan actually said, actually when I drink this alcohol, it reminds me of my father when he was alive, and so and so, so and so. And it's like, a lot of people agreed, yes, you know what, I also felt the same way, I also felt the same way. So like maybe the brand, it's like could use such kind of ideas to maybe communicate or maybe make some changes in their communications accordingly. So like we try to find such resonating ideas. And lastly, we also try to find the impact of media stories. On different Facebook brand page. So it's like there are media stories which come around your brand, organization, etc., etc. We try to see how those media stories are impacting conversations on your brand page. Text mining. Now, as I said, that network maps gave a structure to the conversation, but text mining helps you understand the meaning out of those conversations. Means a lot of people come up and say, you know what, social media tools, all social media do it, tools do it. Well, that's true, but there's a difference. Most social media tools have a kind of, I would say majority, I would say, have a generic algorithm. So it does not means the algorithms are not contextualized based on, say, either you are analyzing Coca-Cola or you are analyzing, say, Conservative Party in England, say for example. So it's like there's no context in it. And what means when we started doing text mining, we realized that, you know what, text mining, this won't work. So it's like we started doing a contextualized text mining. What does that mean? So we can customize our algorithms based on your brand, organization, the positioning they have, the context, the location, in such kind of scenarios. It's like, so technically speaking, we do use natural language processing with human intelligence to understand explicit, implicit, and contextual meaning. So, well, means it sounds big names, but what does that mean? Say for example, I'm working on the Scottish thing, which I was referring before, and there's a politician called Alex Salmond. He's the first minister of Scotland, which is like, say, governor of California kind of thing, just to explain. Means he's like the head of that Scotland. And now Alex Salmond is also referred by things like, say, first minister, eek, salmonella, and means a host of other things. So means if you give to a machine, it will say, okay, fine, no, Alex Salmond is a person, that's it. But it's like we could contextualize the algorithm that, you know what, in this particular scenario, first minister, eek, salmonella are all referring to Alex Salmond. So like that's what is a contextualized algorithm means. There are also things like, say, in Scotland there are words like, say, RUK, I Scotland, Indie Scotland, and even if you look on Wikipedia, half of those things won't come up. Well, it means in most cases, but it's like here we could contextualize the algorithm that, you know what, in this scenario it means this. In fact, to just give an interesting example, I was working on a client who had a promotion around which had elephants in it. And people got so much excited that they started referring, you know what, it's like this elephant to blah, blah, blah. It's like they were referring to their promotion with respect to that elephant. And the machine will think that, you know what, elephant is an animal, that's it. But like here we could contextualize it that, you know what, no, here it's a promotion, and hence analyze it accordingly. Thematic mapping. So now we will move into different aspects of text mining. Now, there are thousands of conversation. Now it's like what we are doing here is categorizing into a hand-label number of themes. And it's like these themes or categories are based on the objectives of the study. So it's like we do, I mean, this was around the Scottish referendum again. I mean, I'm sharing that because that's in the public domain, because some other stuff I cannot share. But yeah. So it's like we do a survey, in that survey we also ask different issues which you have with the independents, and it's like here we try to understand those issues from social media data. So it's like here we contextualize the algorithm. It's like to take into consideration these different issues being discussed around independence. So like if you look at the biggest one, which is around issue of currency. So whenever people talk about, say, whether they want to remain with pound sterling or not, euro or ERM, which is a mechanism kind of stuff, currency union, it's like these are different sub issues which are being discussed with respect to currency. Like all those conversations are go into the issue of currency. More the conversations have happened around this issue, bigger the circle. Now, if you just look at it, this is basically showing what are different issues being discussed. The bigger the circle means more the more that issue is important to those followers. Now, if you're a marketeer, okay, fine. It gives you what are different issues around the brand which are important to your fans. But also helps you understand the difference between what you are saying on Facebook, what your communications are, and what your fans are saying. So it's like you might be saying about, say, XYZ, but your fans are interested only in talking about ABC. So it's like maybe you need to change your strategies. And it's like that's what we're trying to decipher here. We are also, as I was saying, we have used this to compare what is coming out on social media and what is coming out on survey. And if there are differences, why are those differences? If not, why are there no differences? We also use this for a client in which we want to understand the behavior change. Now certainly I cannot, well, using social media you cannot say whether they have actually changed their behavior, but you can certainly say how many times that behavior change has been stated or relayed. And it's like that's where it's like we can see what is the impact of their campaign around behavior change. Now, in fact, there have also been cases where we have been able to decipher issues which were not even hypothesized in surveys. So it's like there were things which the survey team could not even hypothesize, and it was not in the survey, but we found it on social media. In fact, there's an interesting thing that when I showed it to the client, he said, no, you're a liar, kind of thing. And it's like, at that time, it's like she actually just Googled it and found that, you know what, yes, this has actually happened, and no one had an idea that this has actually happened. So like we actually try to decipher things which are not hypothesized. Inter-themes. Now the themes that you saw are not siloed. There are interrelations between them. And it's like using this inter-thematic map, we are trying to find interrelations between them. Okay, let's explain. See, for example, McDonald's. Now it's like if you look, if you mine their social media conversation, and it's like there are different aspects of their brand, product offering which come across. So say, for example, burgers is one of the thing or issue, and say milkshake. And it's like you find that there is a strong interrelation between them. There is a strong link between them. While there is not such a strong relation between burger and Coke. So like people do not relate those two products together. So like maybe next time when they are doing their product planning or product offering, what they call like Happy Meal or something like that, is like, I mean, they can take that into consideration. Here again, I'm showing an inter-thematic map. Now the previous one that you saw is actually, means I've not labeled it, but it's like here what we have done is basically we have taken that Scottish thingy because we can explain it better. The previous one was a more complete map, which is sometimes a bit difficult to understand. So like here we are, what I've done is basically shown an inter-theme with respect to a single theme. So say for example currency, the one which I showed before. Here if you look at it, now this is with respect to the Scottish independence, and you will see that currency is highly referred in conjunction with things like say banking, Bank of England, Alex Salmond, death, etc., etc. So this is giving this gives a kind of understanding of perceived relation between different issues as per your fans. And it's like, I mean, I would like to stress as per your fans, because I mean we have found in scenario in this particular political study that there are certain things which may be related from a macroeconomic point of view, but when it's perceived by your fans, they don't get related. So it's like, I mean, when you are planning your communications, it's like you need to take that into consideration. Means to give another example, means we did some study for telecom, and it's like we could see that how different issues around say network strength, service speed, etc., etc., were interrelated amongst each other, and how that led to churn, means in the industry. Now it's like again these social media conversations, I mean without even using surveys, like we could say that what were different things in conjunction which were leading to churn. Tonality map. Now, most of the social media tools will say, you know what, we do sentiments, and sentiments is one of the most overrated, but one of the maybe overrated, but still not the means the perfect, or it's like even closer to a perfect analysis. And it's like one of the things which I've never agreed with the way how sentiments are done is basically means that most people how they do is like +1 -1 scenario. I like Alex Salmond +1, I hate Alex Salmond -1. But the thing is that our feelings, our opinions are not binary. There are different shades to it, and that's what we are trying to show here using this tonality maps. So like we are trying to look for different shades of opinion around your brand, or around issues, or around brand image, products, product features, etc., etc. Let's give an example. So, I mean, here I'm using this public domain example, and it's like here before I move ahead, this opinion mining or tonality mapping is customized with respect to the objective of the study. So, say for example, we did this for this Scottish referendum, where it's like we mine issues around different issues, like say for example issue of currency, what were different opinions coming around that, or say issue of say independence, what were different issues coming out, or say issues around, or say opinions around Alex Salmond, who is a personality. Now it's like Alex Salmond is a personality, so it's like how you mine your opinions is a different way how you do it, because there is a generic personality opinion, or there is an issue based opinion of that person. So say for example things like say unreliable, wrong, dislike him, those are more of a kind of generic personality opinion. And it's like there are issue based, like say responsible for bad education, and that, I mean that's a more of a kind of issue based opinion. So like we try to decipher different kinds of opinion and different shades of it, means based on the algorithms, which is contextualized based on the objective of the study. Web mining, continuing from the opinion mining I was talking about. Here what you are seeing is basically opinion with respect to products and product features. So like here we were looking at what are different opinions around chocolate bars basically. But there's a slight difference. Here the data is not coming from Facebook and Twitter. This data is actually coming from blogs, and blogs is one of the stuff which is generally slightly underrated, but it's also one of the very important sources of information. One thing is that it is not constrained by imposed hypothesis or boundaries or scales which are set up by surveys. It's like, so several features, aspects of product which are not considered in our surveys are actually captured, means when you mine or understand, means try to understand these blogs. And this is quite important because when you combine information or insights which is coming from this unstructured, unconstrained opinions with your hypothesized surveys, your understanding is much more holistic and much more usable. Spatialytics, basically it's a location analysis. Location data we have been using to understand context of the conversation, impact of campaign by location, and opinions by geography. Now, in fact, you might be knowing that there are a lot of promotions which happen by location, and it's like companies spend thousands of dollars for those promotions. Here what we are seeing, what we are trying to find is like, what is the impact of those location-based promotions on chatter around it. So it's like, this is what we call as transient in-moment opinions. So what is the opinion when they saw your promotion at London Bridge versus what is the opinion which is coming from, say, King's Cross. And so we try to decipher how did that promotion at those particular location impact the entire whole of conversation. Now this was transient. There is also called static opinions, which are basically, say, opinion around energy companies. I mean, that won't change if you are tweeting from, say, London Bridge or King's Cross. But it will be useful if you try to find what is the opinion coming from London versus Glasgow. And that's what we are trying to find using these static opinions. And these are like opinions by geography. And it's like here this spatial analytics is not as a kind of siloed analysis. This is a kind of combination of spatial analytics and text mining. So like all the themes and tones and opinions that you saw before is merged with this location data, like to try to get that locational impact. Means for the data scientists who might be listening, there's like, we are basically using things like, say, geotags, profile locations, and locations which are mined from your text, basically your conversations. Media impact. Now it's like we look at media stories which are impacting your conversations and your brand, and that has helped us decode root cause of opinions which are propagated on social media. This is also it has also helped us in understanding flow of opinion between social media and the offline world, because there's a strong interplay between what is on social media, what is in the offline world, and how is the media looking at both of them. So like we try to find this flow of information. And it's like from a methodological point of view, it's like here we are tying up conversation mapping that you saw before, those network maps and all, with the links which are being shared on social media. Lastly, I guess this slide bored you guys a lot. So it's like ending on a beautiful picture. And it's like the stuff that I saw are more for kind of analytical ways. It's like we are also using a host of different data visualization techniques to visualize this large amount of data. So it's like, say, thousands and millions, what we have done here, the picture which is in front of you, we are trying to show thousands of millions of data points in one single snapshot. So if you look at those strands which are moving, these are basically the violet and the blue one. These are the times when maximum activity has taken place. Now it's like it is useful when you are showing like, say, million tweets, and it's like you want to show that at what particular time maximum conversations have happened. And that's it. Thanks for tolerating me. I know I have a weird accent, but thanks for listening.
Thank you, Preriit. Everybody who is not from Nottingham has a strange accent to me, and I'm sure that everybody will say the same about wherever they come from too. That was excellent. Let me just click a couple of pieces here. And there's Preriit. Here we are. So we're through to the Q&A, and I'm going to synthesize some of the questions coming through. One of the questions I can synthesize best is, what can you say about the tools that you're using? Because people were loving the graphics. There's obviously a lot of tools going on. So how many of those are in-house TNS tools, and how many of those are tools that other people could go and find?
Okay. Well, it's like as far as the tools are concerned, on an average, I would say there are 10 to 11 tools that we use, and there's a strong interplay between them. There are some which are available in the market. So, say for example, SPSS, SAS, Excel, Access. I mean, such kind of things are available, and it's like there are some which we have built in-house. There's like those are more for kind of data processing, data analysis. Means I would say more of a kind of extraction and transformation kind of tools, which we have built up in-house.
Super, and I think that
Does it answer?
up to a point, and I'm sure that people will tweet you some more questions. You're out there in Twitter, and Preriit 2131 for those of you looking on Twitter to find him. So, because people always love questions about tools and platforms and different things going forward. The next step, and again, this is drawing several questions together really, is that what you're saying is that manual intervention is an important part of the process. How much time do you have to spend helping the machines and organizing the information in order to be able to do the conversation analysis, the thematic maps, and these sorts of things?
Yep. Okay. Well, it's like the first time when we do it, certainly it's much more time taking because it's like you have to create the algorithms to which are contextualized based on your objectives and all. It's like, so I would say, if you have a good grip of what we are doing, I would say it takes around 4 to 6 days. When you are initially doing it. The next time when the same data comes in, again I'm a bit generalizing because like if something drastic has happened or something changed dramatically, then certainly we have to change the algorithms, tweak much more in it. But the next time when it's like the same kind of that Twitter conversation comes out like say after 3 months or 6 months or something like that, it's generally a 1 or 2 day work.
Super. That makes a lot of sense. Now, the most common use of social media for brands at the moment is what we described earlier as sentiment analysis, and a lot of the software has sentiment analysis that runs with 0% intervention, and it just runs. Do you think it's at all useful?
Again, see, it's like I would say that the tools that you have in the market, if you're looking for like real-time quick analysis, such kind of thing, those are not bad. Having said that, if you really want that real insightful understanding, it's like something which is like really which you can swear on and say, you know what, this is what has happened, and you can really put in your $1 million into this thing. That's where you really need that human intervention. And it's like because else the machines do not actually do that amount of are not so sophisticated to actually understand that thing. Machines have not yet reached that level.
I agree with that. Not yet. Hopefully they will one day. Another question in here, which is probably a growing issue in Twitter. How do you treat sponsored tweets? Do you treat them differently, or do you combine them with personal tweets?
Depends on what's the objective of the study, because like sometimes they do impact, sometimes you might have to remove them, and it's like, so it depends on the study. Sometimes means I don't have a fixed answer of how we do that. It's like because there's no generalized thing. In fact, there's another thing that also comes up when it's like you have these highly passionate advocates who are like tweeting like say 100 times, or Facebook means they are like commenting like 1,000, 2,000 times. How do you put them? So like because they might have a kind of more impact on your algorithms, and it's like in that scenario also it's more of a kind of objective to objective changes. In some cases we do take those highly influencers or highly passionate advocates. In some cases we do not. So I don't have a fixed answer of it varies from project to project.
And we come to the spatial stuff, which is fascinating, and it's a great example because you're using Scotland. out of 60 million people in the UK, only 6 million will be able to vote in the referendum for Scottish independence, the people who live in Scotland. But all 60 million can talk about it in social media. And although we can do some people, you can identify where they're tweeting from, most people you can't. How do you try to divide out those people outside Scotland from those people inside?
Yes, okay. I mean, so like that's more of a kind of static location-based opinions that you are looking at. So it's like, yes, I mean, I would say in the UK, I would say London is one of the most powerful tweeting city, I guess. So it's like, I mean, when you are doing an analysis, you will see that a lot of opinions are coming from London, and it's like then they are scattered out in other places. So it's like, if we want to look only at people in Scotland talking about it, and it's like then in that case, okay, if I divide the data based on what is coming from Scotland, or it's like even in Scotland which are coming from Glasgow or say Edinburgh or Aberdeen and such kind of things. Now, how do you get that? It's like there are three ways. One, geotags, but geotags are more kind of intransient opinions. So like in the Scottish referendum, I mean, those are not that much of useful. Then there are these profile locations, so like people where they put in the city where they live in. So like that's where, I mean, most of the social media tools use that. That's what we also use. And then there is also kind of the text stuff. So like in certain cases, based on what they are tweeting, that you can decipher that, you know, what they are talking from Glasgow, or it's like, there are indications that they are talking from Edinburgh, such kind of thing. So like in that case, we find out, okay, fine, this is the location where these tweets are coming from. Does that answer that? Or am I gone weird?
No, it does. I mean, I think it's more of a problem if you're trying to look at blogs than Twitter, really.
Yes. Yes, well, blogs is a different ballgame in itself, because like blogs, I mean, you have to care more about those textual understanding and all, and it's like, so no, deciphering location from blogs, you have to do it only using these text stuff. Else it's like you have to go and look at their blogs, but that's not a very scalable option.
Super. We've got another great question here, which is, do you ever analyze long-term data streams? So the past year, or if we take the referendum, by September, you will have over a year's worth of information. Do you look at how the debate and the discussion changes, circles, etc.?
Yes, well, it's like for Scottish thingy, I have been running the queries from almost around November onwards. So it's like we do have to keep those streams on for time. Now it's like certainly we do have an option, because I guess TNS is slightly more privileged because like they have some data providers whom we can extract the data which is going back. So it's like going like 1 year back or 2 years back, means we can do that. But yes, certainly there's a cost to it. But yes, means we do have an option. If I'm continuing to, like, I know that I will be working on it continuously, then certainly we run the streams. And it's like there are different means our in-house build kind of API means we have built in. So like it keeps on extracting the data from it.
Super. Right, that's taken us through all of the questions, I think. I'm just having a quick look here. Yep, no, that is all of them. Thank you so much, Preriit. And let's just go through to here. So, first of all, thank you to Preriit for the answers. Thank you to all of the people who've asked questions on Twitter. I'm slightly wondering whether the GoToWebinar tool, question tool, was working, because we had plenty of questions on Twitter and none in the tool, and sometimes that's the other way around. So that may have just been the nature of the audience, or I wonder if there was an error. If there was an error, just email us through questions. I'm sure that we can forward them on. Sliding recordings will be available as soon as we can get them ready. We've got some more events. There are 2 more lectures in June. We have Sue York, who will be presenting on mobile research, and Matt Meffern, who will be presenting on insight communities. If you are listening to this broadcast, you will be asleep probably when Matt Meffin is presenting his. But if you sign up to it, then you can get the recordings and the slides because he is presenting at 10 o'clock in the morning Sydney time. And the mobile lecture will be at 10 o'clock in the morning UK time. So we try to move them around different points of the clock, different parts of the world. We'll be announcing very shortly the call for synopsis and ideas for the Festival of NewMR, which is the first week of December. Big shout out to our sponsors, Spatialytics, and thanks for them tweeting and sharing images online during the broadcast. That's fantastic. And that's all for today, and I look forward to speaking to you again shortly.
Thank you.